Say. Say.
Presidential authorization for the military to detain terror suspects without charge or trial has left Americans wary. Washington says it's beefing up national security as part of the war on terror. But critics say fear-mongering is dividing and not uniting the nation, as RT's Marina Portnaya reports.
The United States of America is home to over 330 million people. We are a country known for freedom.
That was then. This is today.
It's nothing, you think. Can you be sure? Report suspicious activity to local authorities.
The land of liberty is fast becoming known as the land of fear and suspicion.
There are individuals in the United States who seek to carry out acts of terrorism.
A post-9/11 slogan born in New York City has been adopted nationwide.
Don't assume it was left by accident. If you see something, say something.
The See Something, Say Something American campaign depicts terror scenarios and encourages members of the public to keep watch on, well, other members of the public. According to FBI pamphlets distributed to local businesses, potential terrorist activity indicators include always paying with cash, wearing backpacks and baggy clothes, and the discreet and prolonged use of cameras or note-taking. Even cyber cafe owners are encouraged to keep watch on any customers overly concerned with privacy. Even just trying to shield your screen from others can make you a suspect.
What do we want?
Questioning government policies or making anti-war statements can also land citizens on the U.S. watch list. As of 2009, the U.S. Defense Department categorizes public protests as low-level terrorism.
We live in a military-dominated society, and that the people are unaware of it. That they see terrorism as a threat, you know, and 9/11 has created a level of fear that has been exploited and sustained.
The NYPD under fire again for its intelligence gathering campaign involving Muslim Americans.
An illegal surveillance scandal erupted in the Big Apple after police officers were caught spying on mosques and Muslim communities. According to the Associated Press, thousands were under surveillance with no evidence or even allegations of criminal behavior.
We have to keep this country safe. This is a dangerous place.
Many in the U.S. fear that with America's escalating definition of suspicious activity, the government's expanding powers remain the biggest threat to the people's security. Marina Portnaya, RT, New York.
Because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But, man, you're never going to get any truth from us. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you that Kojak always gets the killer and that nobody ever gets cancer in Archie Bunker's house. And no matter how much trouble the hero is in, don't worry, just look at your watch. At the end of the hour, he's going to win. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know.
Culture of fear is a term that refers to the feelings of fear and anxiety that predominate in contemporary public discourse and relationships, changing how people relate to one another as individuals and as democratic agents.
At 8:45, hijackers crashed an airliner into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York.
Though each of these may provide different accounts for the sources and consequences of the trend they seek to describe, most share the basic claim that this is a relatively new phenomenon with important and potential harmful implications. Many commentators who endorse this view are found on the political left, and some make more specific allegations about cultural manipulation by opponents on the political right.
Video games,
Television, entertainment, Satan, cartoons, society,
guns, drugs,
junk rocker, Marilyn Manson.
Definitely can see why they would pick me, because I think it's easy to throw my face on a TV, because I'm, in the end, sort of a poster boy for fear, because I represent what everyone's afraid of, because I do and say what I want.
Why are so many fears in the air, and so many of them unfounded? Why, as crime rates plunged throughout the 1990s, the 2/3 of Americans believed they were soaring? How did it come about that by the mid-decade, 62% of us described ourselves as truly desperate about crime, almost twice as many as in the late 1980s, when crime rates were higher? Why, on a survey in 1997, when the crime rate had already fallen for half a dozen consecutive years, did more than half of us disagree with the statement, "This country is finally beginning to make some progress in solving the crime problem"? In the late 1990s, the number of drug users had almost decreased by half compared to a decade earlier. Almost 2/3 of high school seniors had never used any illegal drugs, even marijuana. So why did a majority of adults rank drug abuse as the greatest danger to America's youth? 9 out of 10 believe the drug problem is out of control, and only 1 in 6 believe the country was making progress. Give us a happy ending and we write a new disaster story. Media is perhaps the main culprit to blame in the culture of fear. They are constantly bombarding us with headlines that strike terror in the hearts of Americans. If the media is not too busy reporting the bloodshed that has become of the Iraq War, then the media will preoccupy our time with reporting on the possible outbreak of a deadly new disease. Whatever happened to SARS? The flesh-eating bacteria? West Nile virus? Bird flu? And even mad cow disease?
People tend to blame the news as though it's their fault for spreading all this fear, as though there's no market for it. You can't blame the news for making you afraid any more than you would blame horror movies or haunted houses. That's what people are buying into. And the reason that people are buying fear so easily and stockpiling it is you'd much rather believe all that bullshit that, you know, immigrants are trying to take your job and pedophiles are trying to fuck your kids and terrorists are coming to blow up your Ford Focus in particular. That's far more palatable for people to buy than to accept the reality, which is that probably a statistical high Vegas odds probability is that nothing of any significance will ever happen to you in your entire boring life.